Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On today's video, we're going to try to take this 55-gallon drum and create what I hope is an indestructible pig watering trough. So come tear up stuff with us. So if you've been watching the channel lately, you know that we put the rain catchment on the Fairwing barn here in the tank and got our riser built so we could hold water. And we've caught quite a bit of water. The fullest I've seen this is 150 gallons. And we've drained it off a little bit. Obviously, we've had a bit of a dry spell. So right now, all I'm doing to provide water for them is in small amounts. I just come up here in the mornings and obviously release some water into this watering trough. Well, that works fine if you've got cows, horses, sheep, kids, whatever. But when you have pigs, it becomes a problem because the first thing they want to do is they want to lay in it. So that's why every morning you have to come up and rinse it out and get all the mud out of it. And then, of course, the second thing they want to do when it's empty is they want to throw it over the hill. So I've come up several times and it's back over there. We need something that'll hold enough water that it's worth filling up, but then we need it to be stout enough that they can't knock it around. But we also need it to be made in a way that they can't get into it. So it needs some sort of obstruction. So here's my plan. The shade of that massive beech tree. It's behind this little poplar here. I've shown this thing multiple times, but the shade from that massive beech tree provides the coolest spot in this pasture for them. This is a little watershed that only runs when it rains. You can see they're kicking it over here in the shade. That beech is huge. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some rebar that I've had in the loft here from previous construction projects. That's going to assist us. I think 2 sticks will do it. Getting low. Short stick. So if I leave this ladder here, it also will end up over the hill. So I have to put it in here in the barn and raise it up. Okay, so here's the plan, and I've seen this on YouTube, so this is nothing unique to me or anything. The plan, of course, is to take a 55-gallon drum and split it in half vertically. So you have a half of a barrel that can obviously be filled with water, and then, of course, has some sort of base around it, and then some sort of obstruction over top to keep them from laying in it. So you can imagine like frames on a greenhouse or ribs on a wagon or whatever, something like that to keep them from laying in it. So weight, hopefully will keep them from knocking it around, and the ribs will hopefully keep them from laying in it. So the first big question we come into is how to split the barrel, which direction, which angle. If I split it through the openings, then I'll be cutting the openings directly in two, but that's the molding seam, so I've got a line that I can follow all the way that tells me exactly where half of the barrel is. That way if I wanted to make 2, then I'd have 2 equal halves. So that provides a line for me to follow, but I'll be cutting through the openings, and without being able to seal this off, then automatically amount of water that I can hold in this half is going to be relegated by the lip, whichever is lowest of these two, and so I lose about 1 inch of water for the entire length of the barrel. If I decide to cut it this way, then of course I don't have a line to follow, so I have to do my own marking, do my best to stay equal all the way through. And then I've got this lid. I'd have 1 lid per half, and I do have the other bunghole cover for this. Yes, it is what it's called. So I could drain this if there was a chance it was sludgy and I needed to move it or whatever, then I could use it to drain it versus trying to flip it over with the tractor, so that's nice. But then of course the issue of, well, if you don't have the gasket on this and you don't get it sealed well all the time, is there going to be a chance to leak? So that's what I'm contemplating with myself right now. So while we figure out how we're gonna cut the barrel, still contemplating that, my lovely assistant and I say hello, hello, lovelies. Proof of life for everyone that wonders if Kelly's still around. So here she is, and she's gonna help me. We're gonna mill real quick. I got a pine log here. It's got a big old smiley face, but we're gonna get some big planks out of that, or actually big chunks of wood. I want to do 6x6, 8x8, something like that, maybe even bigger, to use as the sides of this to give it girth and weight. So Kelly's going to help me cut those up. The boys are working on another project, getting some cherry up in the barn so it can dry and be cherry to use later. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's fire up the mill. I should be able to do the same on the back side, right? Put your feet under it so it doesn't roll to you. Robin's arrow in twain. A devil in case of trouble. Not too bad. what we're going to do is we want this board to be flush with the top of this. So just lift it up. But look, we can't slide it one way or the other. You gotta kind of keep it like right there. Can you hold that?
I think you mind like
It's a little high.
it's a little tight.
So we've got our frame built that the barrel sits down in, and the game plan is to have the barrel nest inside the frame and not actually be structural at all. The frame itself is what's going to sit on the ground. The barrel will actually be I think what, 1.5 inches is what we made it. So it sticks off 1.5 inches the inside of the frame. But I was getting ready to attach the barrel to the frame, and Kelly said, "Did you check to see if the bunghole was tightened?" There ain't nothing worse than a loose bunghole. So glad. So I've heard. So yeah. It's Saturday night, isn't it? All right. So anyway, so putting this back on tight, I made sure the gasket was good, because the way I built this, I'm not going to be able to use it as a drain. I really don't need to mess with it as a drain. If it's got crud in it, I'll just flip it over. So I'm going to dog this down real tight. Then we're going to attach it to the frame. What the Germans call Guten Tag. Because you just want to slide it down the board, and obviously when you get to the end of the board, it's going to want to flip up. The goal is to try to put just try to pick it up and put the middle of the way. Now we got it. Okay, that's good. On we go, yo.
Rain your way. What?
All right, so we got it in place. Some dummy made it super heavy and then realized we got to carry it out of the workshop, so we had to Liam, Kelly, and I carried it, and then we were able to get it in the tractor bucket. So let's put some water in it. Always looking at something, aren't they? Is that tasty? Clean water for you? You'd rather eat the stand, wouldn't you? Yeah, chewing the rebar, jerk. So I think this is going to work. Obviously, we'll see how well my welds hold up. Welding rebar is not the strongest part of my welding experiences. But you can see they're already chewing on bark. Since this is freshly milled pine, of course, it's going to have some sweetness in it, so they're going to chew on that for a little bit, but they shouldn't tear that up. Decently level, so the water's filling up full. We got our bung cap in tight. I put right at, if those gradients are right in my barrel and my drum's completely level, I put, about 20 gallons of water in it right now. So we'll see. We'll see how long this lasts. Obviously, every morning I'm coming up and feeding them just around the corner here, so I can come check on this and see how it goes. So you saw there, some of them already coming up and testing it. What was funny, I didn't realize, didn't even think about it until they stepped up to it, that these welds are still pretty hot. We literally welded it and threw it in the tractor to come up here, so fortunately nobody got burned. They've cooled off enough now. Well, I would say I'd share these plans with you, but I don't know that I want anybody recreating this. We actually got this idea from, I believe it was from Chicken Thistle, a long time ago when they were still doing podcasts. I believe they made this out of concrete. Instead of using large wooden blocks, they formed up concrete, bent the rebar, and kind of built everything around the barrel, and that way he could pick it up with his tractor and move it. Again, I could possibly put a chain around this and pick it up with the rebar, since I've bolted it down to the angle iron, or I welded it to the angle iron, bolted the angle iron with huge lag bolts down to the wood, but I just don't trust my welds enough. If I need to move it, I'll just scoop it up in the bucket like I transported it up here. Well, another project crossed off the list. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Somebody just comes and makes themselves at home. Sleeping against my tractor tire. Come on, Tubbs. We got things to do.